Welcome to the Be About It podcast. My name is Ben Mercedes, and I'll be your host. We'll cover financial and crypto markets, real estate, and entrepreneurship. My goal is to inspire others to be about it and take action.
In episode 10, I sit down with Alexandra Vazquez, who is a loan officer and real estate investor. We discuss her journey as a single parent from 1 to 5 properties, her goal of 10 plus units, LLC Hacks, and the importance of Mamba mentality, execution, and more. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. Alexandra, thank you so much for joining me today on the Be About It podcast. Why don't you tell the listeners, who you are, your title, and I'd love to dig into like your background and kind of how you got to where you're at now.
So Alexandra Vazquez, I am a mortgage loan officer. I got into this about 1.5 years ago, and I work for a brokerage. Just a quick background on what a brokerage is basically we're the middleman into getting clients the best loan program, best services. So we shop for them. So you don't go just to your normal bank and just go shopping for one specific product and that's all they have. I shop around. So every situation is different. So I offer just a diversity of products, rates, different programs that I can help my clients. And I do all the legwork for them to make sure I get the best thing for them.
Right. Do you want to push in just a little bit? Is that cool?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just thinking of like mouth placement to mic. I'll cut this portion out.
Right.
Very cool. Last time I shopped for a mortgage, someone had mentioned, hey, go to a mortgage broker. They have access to more competitive rates. And my particular mortgage broker has been really helpful. We talked a little bit about how, I'm an entrepreneur, and he had said, hey, if you put one of your cards in your business account, you'll have that off of your debt to income ratio, so you'll get approved for a bigger mortgage. Do you know offhand any other tips like that are kind of game changers for people? Or things that have been game changers for you?
Yeah. So personally, it was all very new to me as well. Mm-hmm. But I own multiple properties, and in doing so, I open up an LLC. Whenever you put everything into your business, as long as you show credibility from your bank accounts coming out of your business, you can actually take and defer all that off of your personal credit. So when you're purchasing homes into your own name, all that debt, credit cards, car loans, everything like that goes off your name. Another thing that I do personally.
Specifically with an LLC?
Specific with LLC, okay. A corporation, a sole proprietor. Does not matter the way you have it, but it has to be with the EIN number of a business. But something that I also do is I transfer some of my properties into commercial lending. When you do personal, assets in order for you to keep growing, you can only have 10 conventional loans with a normal bank. So that alleviates some of those houses that you can keep doing, because you're going to get the best programs and the best rates on conventional. But if I transfer 2 of them into, commercial, that opens up another piece of 2 properties that I can do under my name. Mm-hmm. And you can still report it as income on your personal tax returns. So I can still use the income, but they don't affect my DTI. So it's just a phenomenal thing to do.
How long did it take you to learn that?
Took me a little bit, but it was all trial by error, reading, informing myself and surrounding myself with individuals that have helped me grow in that. But the more I learn, the more I can tell people, the more I can educate my clients. And, that just opens up so many different avenues. So, yeah.
That's amazing. Let's talk about kind of where you started in banking, how long ago that was, and kind of like your journey through that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am originally from Florida. I came here and I, did not know what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. But I kept hearing the term cash cow, and I was like, what is this? And everybody was talking about multifamily. So at 18 years old, I hustled. I worked 3 jobs. I went to college. And then I wanted to get into a little bit more serious work. And then that's when I started working at Santander as a personal banker. Quickly, I learned all the products and learned how to talk to clients and sales. And I really just, I loved it. So I kept growing. I went to DCU, TD Bank, and every time I switched, it was a new opportunity. I did financing for clients. I became a branch manager. I went all the way up by myself. I actually didn't even finish college. But I learned everything I needed to do in financing, how to help clients, how to help myself. And it really built that foundation for me to, be where I'm at today. So just learning the products and how I can help individuals help me. And, I am where I'm at today because of it. So
yeah. How did you start in, I guess you're a loan officer, I want to say lending.
Yeah.
When did you get into that space?
So about 2 years ago, all the pandemic stuff, I got laid off where I was at. And I've been doing mortgages personally since I was 20 years old. So it's something that I really loved. And the gentleman that used to help me do loans, he had a posting for a job and I was laid off at the time with the whole pandemic. So then I said, hey, I know what I'm doing. You've done plenty of loans for me. I feel, ready for this position. Give me a shot.
Yeah.
And a year and a half ago, he gave me an opportunity. And at that point, I was more of like a loan partner, but I got to learn everything. We worked with 20 different banks. So I learned so many different opportunities that I can present to clients and how I can really help the communities and everything. So I got into it. And, now I work for a different mortgage broker shop, but now I'm a full loan officer. So now I can actually, talk about rates, talk about how I can actually help you and talk about finances and educate my borrowers. So now I'm a full mortgage loan officer. So it's been almost 2 years now and I absolutely love it.
That's amazing. And so you have how many properties now?
So I have 5, trying to go on 6.
Killer.
I'm trying to purchase one more. The goal is to get
That's
to 10.
always the case though. Just one more.
Yeah.
Just one more.
Yeah, always. And the satisfaction I get every single time, like it's just so gratifying. And I have a 4-year-old son and I'm all about teaching him. He'll tell you how he rents properties and everything at 4 years old. And I want to do that with him. And, it feels amazing every time you're at the closing table. And I try to, show that to my clients. Like I know those feelings and I try to go above and beyond just to give them that same feeling that I get every single time.
Now, the properties that you have, are they all local to here or are they around the country?
4 of them are here and one of them is in Florida. Second home vacation. I said, I'm from there. So I'm also licensed out in Florida. So I always go back and forth. Like I try to go once a month, meet with realtors, meet with different partners that I can, associate myself with. So
that's very cool.
I'm back and forth, but majority is up here.
That's cool.
Because I'm here, so I can control and be there for my tenants and such.
In theory, you could, I don't know, if there was someone like your boss in Florida who had an operation who needed help with, what you do, you theoretically could work both.
Absolutely.
You can work remote.
Absolutely.
Right? It's not a problem.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I have a friend in the space. He's down. I think he's in like North Florida, Jacksonville, around there. But he's crushing it. He has a team that he's growing. They're getting licensed in a bunch of different states. Like every day he's posting stuff and he's just like, he's building an empire down there. And like, there's so much opportunity. So it's obviously there's still plenty of opportunity in real estate, although the market is literally crazy. It's like 20% up year over year. When is this thing? Do you see it pulling back at all? What do you think?
I don't. Yeah. Like personally, I look every single day, whether I'm buying or not. And the reason why I do that is because I want to be on top of the game, help my clients out, like look for things that they don't see normally. And for example, I'm pre-approving every single day a ton of people and there's 10 houses per zip code with 1,000 buyers. I go to open houses, I go anywhere and there's a line of 30 to 50 cars. The inventory is just, it's just not there. Yeah. So you get all these new first-time home buyers, all these millennials trying to get into buying houses, and there's just not enough inventory. So I don't see it slowing down. Rates have gone up a little bit, but they're still awesome rates. I mean, if you look at rates 10 years ago, they were at 10% and everybody was happy, so 4%, 3%, they're still good rates. And, the conversation I have is like, renters. And it's like, imagine you buying a house at 600,000, you can't keep charging 800. You're not going to make money. I own property and your taxes go up, the expenses go up, so if you're a renter and you're looking to get into it, like now is the time, it's like, don't keep waiting next year, even though that you're paying $100,000, let's say in 2 years, if the rate's higher, you're actually paying more over the course of 30 years. So, don't wait, make sure you're like partnering up with a professional that can actually educate you and, help you grow in that sense and have you understand that like, there's just benefits of doing it right now,
right.
So.
Yeah, we talked a little bit off air. Official inflation numbers are at 7.5%. I call that BS. It's probably double, right? Yeah. But if you can get $500,000 at 4%, you're literally getting free money. So Absolutely. If you can just take that and put it in whatever hard asset, obviously real estate, it's literally like a no-brainer if you can make the numbers work.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. There was another point I wanted to mention, but I forgot. What do you know about Zillow buying homes and BlackRock buying homes?
So Zillow's taking over the market. I'm actually trying to partner up.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? What do you think about that?
I mean, you see all these people trying to be different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we know everything's going to social media, everything's going to the digital. Everybody needs it at their hands. So all these companies are being very competitive. It's good and bad. I mean, I don't think it's as good because like you get companies like Redfin, they're only charging 1% to list your home. So you're knocking out a ton of these realtors and they're offering the same exact thing. So it's
pretty competitive.
They're changing the game, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how do you keep up with them? So I always say partner up, you know, like any way that you can. So like, you know, you try to partner up with Zillow and you put yourself out there. So anytime someone inquires about a mortgage, you know, you pay for a lead and you become that person. So, you know, they're changing it up. I mean, they're changing everything. They're trying to keep everything in house. They're trying to be number one. Like Zillow is like, you know, so that's why Redfin and you see all these different companies trying to do these things differently in order to kind of keep up with the market. But they have it all digitally. Like they have all the numbers, they have everything. So
it's been crazy to watch. When I saw Redfin doing 1%, I was like, wow, that's like, how do they make money? Do they make money just like acquiring the properties?
No, they make 1% of the sale of the home.
But they can just do so much volume that it doesn't even matter. That's crazy. That's like Amazon, Walmart moves. You know what I mean? Like they can do so much volume, it doesn't even matter.
Exactly.
Like they'll do that just to bleed you out and starve you out. Like it's crazy.
So you see all the little people, all the people really trying, and these little small brokerages like struggling.
Get crushed. You know? Yeah, that's big business.
You have to kind of change, you know? It's like,
you got to adapt.
You can't keep doing things that we were doing in the 80s, 90s, you know?
That's any industry. So like before this, I was in corporate America. I was in a lighting company. So we would sell interior, exterior lighting, hospitality groups, extended stay, all their like lighting inside, big malls, their exterior lighting. And my CEO had said once, like we were kind of, everything was like pivoting to LED and he had wrote out an email and it was like, listen, we need to like get ahead of this and adapt or we'll be like dinosaurs, right? Change comes to every industry and you either adapt and get with it or you turn to Blockbuster.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Blockbuster can sit here and say, oh, Netflix, you need to stop streaming stuff on the internet. And Netflix just demolishes them, you know? So adapting is crucial. The thing with BlackRock I've seen, they're one of the largest asset managers in the world. And through sub funds, they've been buying real estate to rent out to America, right? And so it's this idea of like, they're almost going to make it so the middle class can't be in homes, you know what I mean? So everyone will be renters, which is another kind of scary thought in terms of like, when you have assets like yourself, and I have a friend who I'm texting with earlier, he's been on the show, Joey. He has a handful of properties. Your properties, you get obviously equity over time, and then you can just get a loan on that. And it's just like you have new capital to do whatever you want with. You can create new businesses off of the equity that you have in real estate. So it just gives you so many options.
Absolutely.
So that's amazing. You're super young. You're crushing it. I got introduced to you through Alex. We've been shooting weddings together, corporate stuff together. Me and him have so many similarities. It's crazy. We both have like a 12-year-old stepson. We both have 2-year-old going on 3-year-old daughters. We both love video. We both love real estate, like all these like things. And we would talk on the way to weddings and stuff. And he would say, oh, my friend Alexandra, she's killing it. She's young. She's doing this. She's doing that. And so like, it was really cool to meet you. Super happy that you're coming on here to talk about it.
Absolutely.
I love seeing women in real estate. I love seeing women like, hey, I'm working on buying a property. I'm working on buying 2 properties. I'm working on flipping 1. Like men and women should have assets.
Absolutely.
So I think that's awesome. You don't see the real estate market cooling off. I don't either, because BlackRock is buying properties and people like you are buying properties. People bigger than you are buying properties. People, with less assets than you are pooling money together to buy properties. Like everyone is doing it. People are getting hard money from across the country to buy whatever they can. And I'm getting letters in the mail every week. Hey, Ben Mercedes, I'll buy your property right now. Cash money. Like people just buy lists, mass mail everyone and own more. So I don't see the real estate market slowing down at all. A little concerned about rates going up. But I think honestly, when there's more of a rate hike, I think the stock market's going to pull back as well. So even if real estate does pull back a little bit, I don't see it. It's not going to be like an 09 crash. It'll pull back a little bit, but I don't. It'll be a different type of pullback than back then.
Absolutely, because right now, when people go through the home buying process. I try to make it as smooth as possible, but I mean, there's hiccups, there's things that happen, and
financing falls apart. I see it all the time.
The lenders are very strict now because they want to protect themselves. They don't want to go through what happened, So it's a lot more, people being protected now. So I don't really see any of that happening. But I don't know, just talking from like my own experience, like you said, when you own property, you have pretty much another source of income or another source of equity that you can tap into. And, everybody's like, oh, how do you do it? It gets harder. I'm like, no, it actually becomes easier. Owning all this property, I'm literally buying a house on just my rental income. Like it literally becomes so simple. Use it to your advantage. I can tap into all those houses. If I want to sell them, I'll make $1 million at 29 years old. I mean, I come from nothing. I don't have a college background. My parents don't have, I don't have much that I can say, So the fact that, I understand it, I'm working on it. I have a goal every single year, buy one property. I'm not going to stop till I do it. I show that to my son. So all that, I want to pass it on to him. His college is already paid for with one of my properties. Like it's already a plan that I'm already thinking ahead, and, I can sell all of it, buy one with like 10, 15, 20 units. I mean, there's endless possibilities. And I'm just retaining to all my property, keep the equity going up. My tenants are paying for it. I'm making money. I mean, it's just awesome. And it opens up a new door every single time you buy a property for another opportunity. Just keep that in mind. And I always tell that to everybody, once you buy one, it becomes easier. Then you understand the process a little more, and then it gets a little bit easier. And then you have a solid team behind you. I mean, the opportunity is like endless. You know?
Do you follow Bigger Pockets at all?
No.
Okay. So biggest real estate podcast aimed more at the person like yourself, not necessarily like a realtor, although a lot of realtors listen, mortgage officers listen. There was a host, Brandon. He's no longer the host. He was on it for like 10 years. I think he's cash flowing after expenses like $1 million a month, that he's just been in the game for like 15 years, crushing it, multi-units. His recent acquisitions have been mobile park homes, and they were buying like large mobile parks. I think he wanted like $200,000 worth under management, and he like 4x'd his goal in the first year. They basically just created a fund. They used the podcast and his network that's massive to kind of get the word out and say, hey, if you are an accredited investor and you want to invest in my fund, here's the email. Take the cash from the investor, find the deals, align the numbers in your favor, and like it's just a cash flowing machine. Like you're literally getting, I don't know how much he's getting, like 20% off the top, 30%, like, and they're managing like a large amount of mobile homes. And when he was talking about it, it was like, well, single families are great, triples are great, quadplexes are great, 20 units are great. And if you want something a little more quote unquote recession proof, like mobile home parks will always be rented no matter what happens. And so it's kind of like a hedge for him to his portfolio, but they've built something massive. And like, every 2 weeks I look at his Instagram, and he lives in Hawaii. He has a family out there. He's just like, there's nothing better than just closing a deal on the beach. Yeah. Literally just bring me the paperwork, just sign off, and it's just cash flow. It's amazing. It's unreal. So yeah, I've been learning about real estate for a while. We're in a spot where we'll have our first rental, and then after that, it's like, all right, do I look at some Airbnbs overseas? Do I look at something local? So you got to figure out that next step. But it can be so lucrative for someone like yourself. You have the double advantage because you're in the industry, you see the rates, you have the connection. So super proud of you on doing that. What advice do you have for someone who, I don't know, maybe is a single mother, maybe they're working 2 jobs right now. They want to get into real estate. What advice would you give them in terms of, real estate? Yeah.
I know it sounds very cheesy, but set goals. Like every beginning of the year, I set a goal, and I am the type of person that I won't sleep until that goal is accomplished. I put it everywhere. Surround yourself with people that not only know the industry, but care. Like I care to help people. Again, I'm a single mom. I have a 4-year-old, and I work full time. I take care of him full time. I manage my houses full time. I mean, it's a lot.
Isn't that impossible though? You can't do that.
My head is about to explode every single month, but I manage my time correctly and I set goals. Yeah. I'm very strict on saving. So whatever goal you want, whether it's real estate or, improving your job, whatever it is, like set that goal, set that expectation. If it doesn't happen by then, I mean, I have what I have because I set the goal and I worked until I had it. I didn't stop. It's always front of mind. It's always, something that I do. So, partner yourself up with friends that like are like-minded or like professionals that like, if you want to get into real estate, get yourself like partnered up with someone like me or another loan officer or anything like that. That is going to be in your best interest, and that want to help you grow. That, like I get that satisfaction of someone at the signing table the same way as that I do. I know that feeling and I know if I can give it to someone else. So like, making sure that you have that behind you, like a good solid team, is going to get you like where you want. Like nothing's impossible. Like we talked a little bit offline about, your phone, like you can set up anything you want, any business. I mean, you can literally do anything, you just have to put the work in, and I'm not scared of, getting my hands dirty, and I want to show that work ethic to my son. I got that from my parents. They may not have much, but they work and they, that I've gotten that since I was a little girl. So, I've been very mature since I was little. I try to, show that to my son. I really want to, make him into a man, and hopefully he does this with me in the future, but just really partnering yourself up with people that are like-minded and that want to help you grow is going to take you very far,
Absolutely.
and yeah.
Yeah. There was a quote, you are the sum of your 5 closest friends. And it's just like, if that circle of friends doesn't look like where you want to be in 10 years, then you need to change that, or else it's going to kind of keep you where you're at. Brandon from Bigger Pockets is big on being intentional, big on goal setting. His whole thing, like he has, short clips online where it's just like, hey, if you want to get to, this goal here, it's like, you should have a checklist on every goal that's going to get you to there. And every week you should be re-examining this, and you should wake up with like, what can I do today that will get me closer to this goal? And every day it should be wake up, do the same thing, wake up, do the same thing. It's literally just execution, right? So when you're talking about goals, it's literally executing on your goals until that goal is crossed off, checked off, and until you slide that into the accomplishment box.
Absolutely.
So like when you have that like ferocious Mamba mentality of like, these are my goals, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get them done, you're going to be successful. Absolutely. And you are successful. And I don't know if like, I don't think people are born with that. I think that like, maybe you're born with like ambition. But when you feed that, when you hang out with other people, when I'm listening to Bigger Pockets and I hear all these stories about all different kinds of people, single moms, parents, women who aren't even moms, like everyone and anyone can come into real estate and like make a name for themselves. And with the power of social media too, it's like, there's this one girl, I forget her name. I think it was like Brittany Flips. But she would just she was just like documenting all her fix and flips. Like she would do live in flips, fix everything. And kind of like, she would document the process, and she would be kind of cheap about it, but very creative, resourceful. And like, it's just amazing what you can do, with real estate.
Absolutely.
What are your favorite podcasts? Do you have any real estate podcasts you listen to, or? No, actually, business podcasts? Nothing. How about books? Top business books, business philosophy.
So I read a little bit. I honestly don't read much, actually.
Yeah, or even like I listen to Audible a lot, right, when I'm driving. So like I don't read a lot. I'll listen a lot because I drive a lot. But that's another outlet for me. Nothing on that.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Crazy.
I know.
Like you're a lot of the stuff that I mean, like have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No.
Okay, so classic real estate book. I think if you ask like 9 out of 10 real estate investors, they'd at least heard of it, if not read it. But like a lot of the stuff you'll learn in those books, you're probably already implementing, which is amazing. So like I'm big on books, podcasts. It's where I like learn everything, you
can share some with me.
Yeah. I'll share a list with you. Let's see. Where do you see yourself in like 5-10 years? You still want to do one a year? Like, is there an end point on one a year?
Well, I'm an avid traveler. I love to travel and collect stamps on my passport with my son. So obviously everybody's working towards financial freedom, right? So my goal really, like I've had this goal since my first property, which was to buy 10. at that point, I would probably reanalyze, but I would want to have a little bit of more financial freedom. So owning 10 properties will give me that. Will give me the opportunity to fly and not really have to worry about, putting food on my table for my son or doing anything like that. So, the goal that I have within the next 5 years is to get 4 more properties.
Sweet.
Doing that will open up either an opportunity for me to maybe sell all of them and buy like a bigger one. Maybe buy a mobile home park. There's endless opportunities at that point, but I'll have enough equity in those properties that I can make a big business decision at that point.
Right.
So it all depends where I'm at. Maybe I'm at a different place then, and maybe I have a partner by then. So maybe it'll all be different, but I will not stop until I get 10 properties.
I like it.
I'm not gonna stop.
Yeah. As far as property management, how do you handle that now?
It's all in my head.
Yeah.
It's very challenging. It can get very exhausting. But
have you had a lot of issues with property maintenance?
No, thank God.
Yeah. Sweet.
And I'm very responsive to my tenants. I'm very on top of it. I don't let anything kind of, keep snowballing into anything big. So I'm really on top of all my properties. I do yearly checkups. I make sure everything's all set. And then, I just know when you do property management, there's just a lot of fees involved, and I'm still not big enough where it's like, I can't manage it. And if I can save myself in order to keep buying more assets, like I save everything I can.
Because if you're paying for property management, that's coming out of your cash flow.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
What is it, like $100 a door?
$100 a door. Then there's maintenance when they don't call you. So there's a lot of things associated. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just not at the point where I'm big enough to hire something and I can still manage it on my own.
For sure.
That's kind of where I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's definitely, I take 1 day a month, a full day a month. I take it out and that's it. That's all I do. I pay all the bills. I check up on the tenants, everything like that, just to make sure everything's good.
Do they text or call you a lot?
Yeah. But I'm very responsive, if it's something that I can handle, I handle it right away. If it's something that needs, some time. But there can definitely be a lot of phone calls, but it's nothing like major, nothing, maybe once a year I have to replace something major, but it's nothing that I can't handle,
Right.
And it keeps my cash flow bigger, keeps my pockets bigger in order for me to invest more.
Yeah, that's one thing. So people will look at they have say a $1,200 mortgage right now. I don't know if there's a $1,200 mortgage that you've had for, 5 years or something, that'll probably rent at depending on the area, $1,800, $2,000. Easy. People just assume that that spread of $800 between $1,200 is $2,000 is pure profit. Yeah. So you're going to want to put some of that away for maintenance. Yeah. You're going to want to put some of that away for taxes. You're going to want to put some of that away for just other things. Yeah. So that, $100 a door plus other fees becomes more. So smart approach on that. In terms of do you handle snow removal or?
I have a guy for everything.
Sweet.
I just boom, boom, boom. They know all my properties.
Sweet.
I have a plumber, electrician. So I got
so you have the ecosystem.
I have a good team. Not really one solid team, but I have a connection for everything.
Independence,
Exactly. And I do have quite a few condos, so I don't really have to worry about the snow removal. So, but I do have one multifamily. So that one's the one that got to make sure that everything's good, because if somebody falls on that property,
that's a problem.
They'll see all my assets and they'll try to come after everything.
Right. And that's where an LLC comes into place to shield you. So awesome. Man, I lost what I was going to say. In terms of 10 years from now, what do you think rates will be like? Because we're going in 4% right now.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned earlier, you were 10 years ago, houses were half as expensive.
Yeah.
But the rates were
10%.
Double what they are now. Yeah. Now houses are twice as expensive. Rates aren't half. I don't know what real estate's going to look like in 2030. I mean, even if you look at I saw a post the other day that was 40 years ago, your average real estate transaction was 4 times your salary. And now it's your average real estate transaction is 14 times your salary, because the purchasing power of a dollar is going down. Yep. Simultaneously, real estate is going up. Yep. If anyone listens to this, I also have the Bitcoin podcast. We talk a lot about the economy, the dollar, the purchasing power, all those kind of things. I'm not too bullish on even in general, you look at societies in the past and politicians mess with the money and like the society crumbles, right? It's just always happens. So I don't know what that looks like in the future, but again, there's it's a sure bet if you're getting $300,000, $400,000 to get a mortgage for 30 years, that like eventually the house is going to be worth more. Yep. You're going to get that equity out. And it's just a no-brainer to get more assets with it. So that is amazing. What was, I guess, the worst experience you've had so far? You know, like someone will get into like a fix and flip and like they'll open the floorboards and like it's all rotted underneath. And now you got to redo some structure.
Absolutely.
What nightmares do you have? Because this is the stuff people don't talk about. They listen to real estate podcasts, they watch real estate shows, and everything is scripted in Hollywood and cash money. So let's talk about the bad stuff.
So two things. One was one of my first tenants. I've had a ton of tenants.
Did you screen the tenant?
Yes and no. I mean, you screen to a certain extent.
Did you do it yourself or did you hire it out?
Myself.
Okay. Cool.
I have a lease that's this thick now. My first lease was from Google. Yeah. So I didn't know.
That's how you learn.
And I had 3 college girls in there, and oh my God,
were you renting individually?
I was renting it, individually, basically per room.
Yep. It's more profitable.
They had animals in there. There was like
dogs or cats or like
and
tigers.
They like scraped the whole carpet. They're like, oh, the door from slamming. I'm like, no, this is cat. I mean, there was just cat just everywhere in the house was brutal. And I didn't collect a security deposit, so I had to eat the cost of everything.
What did that cost?
A few $1,000s.
Okay, so you're out like 2 or 3 at this point.
And they were just constantly like
nagging you.
Oh, my mom is a real estate agent. You can't do this, or you can't. And it's like we weren't, So like they were just it was brutal. And most recently, I have a condo. I was gonna sell it because I was just going through so much. But I'm like, you know what? I'll just keep it. Like I'm getting so much on rent. But it was infested with cockroaches. I have a TikTok on it. Like it's just the most scariest thing ever.
In a condo?
Yeah, and I went into cleaning.
Is it like a I know around here people will have like a 2 or 3 family and like they'll redo it really nicely and call it a condo. Yeah. Is this something like that or is it like a complex?
Yeah, like a condo complex.
Okay, gotcha.
I never had any bug problems. I lived there. That was my first condo. It was like I don't know. This is like my 8th tenant in there. Yeah. Like I've been fine. I get a call. Oh, we're full with. I'm like, I don't know. So the condominium went inside and is like, no, you need to replace like everything in here. Like it's an infestation. So I had to unfortunately kick these people out. And when I went in to clean, I went with my dad actually. I'm like speechless. Like they were crawling. Like they were literally crawling on. I mean, it was brutal. So
it's crazy.
And I have to cover all those expenses.
Yeah.
So
was it just your unit that was infested? I
mean, eventually it went through the whole building.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Because I know like in the past, like sometimes they'll do like, they'll open up the sewers on a street and then all of a sudden everyone on that block or around that opening will start getting like mice problems because they're just scurrying and trying to hide. Nightmare.
Yeah, no, the whole building's infested now. So,
Awful.
I mean, it was a big problem. And it's like, but, like you mentioned, you know, you keep some reserves every month in an account. You know, you make sure that you're covered. So it's not like it's coming out of my pocket like right away, and it's not like I'm going to go crazy. So you want to make sure you're keeping at least 10 to 20% every month of your profits and keep it in there, because if something major does go, I mean, that's a few $1,000s. You know, there's no bucket that I have. That's, it's just, so you have to be kind of smart with it. But thankfully, I have, great tenants overall, and I've been blessed with that. So, I'm very, very grateful to be where I'm at. I've worked really hard for it, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't do it any other way. Yeah. And I talked about retaining properties. Like every time I buy a property, I go into it so scared, like, oh, I'm overpaying. Yeah. Every single property is worth double at this point from when I bought it. And my first one was done about 8 years ago. So imagine, and I go in so scared every single time, and it's like, just every single property is worth double. At least. It's
crazy.
My multi is worth like 2 times almost,
Yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm not going to keep it. I went through that little moment where I almost sold, but I'm glad I did it, because, you just keep increasing the equity, and I could tap into that.
Right. That was another thing I was thinking through. It's like, all right, even if you have a big problem and you don't have cash reserves, you still have equity in other properties where it's as simple as a phone call. Like, hey, I just need some equity. Yeah. No brainer, super smart. What did it cost to fix those problems with the infestation?
It wasn't too bad. It was like probably like $1,000. It
Oh,
wasn't
that's
too
not
bad.
bad. That's not.
It wasn't too
that's not
bad. I did a lot of stuff myself, and then
Yeah.
you have to hire like a cleaning company. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, there
yeah,
was like a lot to it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad. I mean,
Right.
it is what it is. It's a
Yeah.
cost of doing business.
Learning lesson.
Got new people in there, and then my lease now has a lot of clauses in there and an addendum, and I make sure that everything's done well. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very cautious now.
In my wedding business, every 6 months, you know, I'll come across a situation like yours where it's like, I need to add a clause to the contract.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's no other way to learn those things outside of experience. You have to go through that.
100%.
You know what I mean? You have to go through the experience to say, oh, I need to add this clause to protect me from anything like this. So no brainer on that. There's someone I follow, I think it's Your First Million on Instagram, or maybe it was Brandon from Bigger Pockets, but they had posted something like he had some big issue at a property, and I think it was a lot of money that he had to fork out. I think it was like 20 grand or something. Oof. And it's just like, that's 20 grand. That's a big number.
Yeah.
But he had said that his mentor or someone had kind of reframed it where it's like, you know, it's just money. It's just money. Yeah. It's going to come back, right? It's not, you know, a loved one isn't dying. It's not a cancer diagnosis. It's not like life threatening. It's literally just money, you know, it sets you back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's not like, you know, losing an arm or what have you. So when I saw that, I was like, interesting, you know, just perspective on things.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, because my head is at 20 different places at once. And, you know, I'm very grateful, like I said, about what I have. But I mean, there's times where like you go through that, you know, you're like, you get this loss and it sets you back, and it's like, how do you recover from that? And like, you go into like these little, you know, deep ruts. And it's hard to get yourself out. And I have myself to get out, you know, but I look at those positive things and I get myself out, and I surround myself, you know, my new boss is amazing at, you know, helping me like kind of go through that and navigate through that, because I do go through that, you know, I'm not always all smiley and peaches, and like you go through a lot of different things. So just seeing it, you know, from a different perspective helps you in this industry or in any industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Even on my end, it's like, you know, I have certain investments and I want to be further along than where I'm at. And it's just like, I'm kind of strapped for cash. I'm an entrepreneur. So it's like, I'm strapped for debt to income ratio. We moved one vehicle into the business, so that's taken care of, paid off the other vehicle. So now it's like, I have, you know, an extra $900 of
that's a lot.
Cash flow to get a new mortgage, which is amazing to me. So just, you know, constantly learning. It's been great to kind of sit down and chat with you. You were an inspiration when Alex told me about you. You're even more of an inspiration now. Super happy to connect with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Let the listeners know where they can find you on social. And I'll also take those links and I'll put them in the show notes.
Okay. So. Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I have a business page on Instagram where I post a lot of content in regards to any new loan products, any new offerings that I have. Right now, I can lock loans up to 90 days. For new constructions, up to 120 days. I mean, that's a game changer. You can't really do that, you know, in your normal typical banks. So while you're shopping, you'll have that peace of mind. I have Facebook, Alexandra Vazquez. I have LinkedIn. So I'm on all social medias. Just one little thing that I wanted to add. You said, you know, how someone that like wants to get into it, you know, me personally, like, by giving that experience, I have so much personal experience that not only I'm going to help you get the best program or the best rate or whatever, I'm going to be there every step of the way. If you're going to buy a multi and you need help I mean, you're buying a multi, people don't even know this is the first investment. This is their first big investment. And it's someone like that has like this experience, have the leases in place, have things that I can help and educate and help them along. It's not just, let's go to the closing table and I'm done with you. No, hey, I'm here for you throughout the life of this. And any way that I can help, and this LLC, you know, there's so many things that I can add value to anybody, whether you do business with me or not, like I'm here to help, you know, so.
I love it. And those pointers are crucial. Because every dollar counts.
All the difference.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I'll get your socials. I'll put them in the show notes.
Thank you.
Guys, if you are watching this podcast, listening to this podcast, make sure to like and subscribe where you're at. Drop a comment that just kind of boosts the algorithm so we know, or so the algorithm knows that you like it, and it'll show it to other people. Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. If you are listening to this on a Lightning 2.0 podcast app like Fountain app or Breeze, if you've received value from this show, you can actually reciprocate that value. It's podcasting 2.0. So you can literally stream Bitcoin in the form of like 10 cents, $1, $10 to any of your favorite podcasters anywhere in the world, instantaneously, anonymously. And it's amazing. It's going to change the podcasting space. It also allows this show